Welcome back, guys, to the Queen of TV channel. Before we get started, let's get our three things out first. Please watch the video to the very end and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Second, there will be cursing and profanity in this. If that's not your cup of tea, this channel's not for you. Lastly, I will be giving my honest opinion about the episode and the show as a whole. Without further ado, let's get into our intro. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, the Queen herself, and you are the Prince and Princesses. You're either a subscriber or you are a viewer. Either way, welcome. Today we'll be talking about H2O Season 1, Episode 18, Bad Moon Rising. We start off the episode with Zane having a nightmare about the day that Emma had to save him. He is there with Miriam, who could care less about the fact that he is struggling internally, emotionally, and mentally with this whole thing. He tells her to leave because his dad doesn't like it when he has people over. We cut to Cleo's house where Emma, her, and Rikki are looking at the moon cycles and know for a fact that today is the day of a full moon. Rikki, being naive, believes that she'll be found a full moon and that Cleo and Emma should be worried. Zane shows up at Cleo's house wanting to talk to her father, Dom. He wants to see if he knows anything about sea monsters, and he shows him a picture of the tail itself. Well, he doesn't believe Zane and needs proof. So Zane gets Nate's help to take him back to Miss Chatham's boat and be able to laser the door off of it so they can prove to all the fishermen that something did happen to him that day and that he is not crazy. We now at Emma's house see the girls preparing themselves for the full moon. Emma's parents are out camping with her brother, so they have the house to themselves. Louis shows up wanting to help further ventilate and proof the house for the full moon. Emma and them don't think that's a good idea, but Louis tells them not to be all independent female on him and to just give him a chance and that he will be thanked later for it. So while they're doing that, Zane and Nate, of course, find Miss Chatham's boat. They get the door lasered off and show it to the fishermen. Zane offers to give a reward to any man that can prove to him what else could have done this. No one has any answers. So him and Dom get back to the house so they can try to figure this thing out. After the house is completely ventilated, the girls want Louis to leave. Louis said, well, is this the thanks I get, huh? It really hurts. It hurts here in my heart. But unbeknownst to the girls, Louis is planning on camping outside of the house. I don't know why, but he does. As they're trying to get him out the door, it takes him 20 damn seconds to get out. Because by the time that they fully get him out, the moonlight has already crept through the door. It beams the light onto a vase that then carries on to a glass bowl that Cleo is holding, and the light reflects on a light fixture hanging on the wall, back down at a picture frame of Emma and her parents with her brother Elliot, onto the glass that Rikki is holding, full of water, where she sees the full moon. And do you know how that shit could have been avoided? If Louis had just got the fuck out the door instead of trying to tell them that he is going to call them every hour, as if they would still be awake. Rikki starts immediately acting all weird, and while Cleo and Emma are talking about acne and if their butts are too big while reading magazines, Rikki gets up and wants some ice cream. She looks in the refrigerator and all she sees is tofu, and more tofu. She puts her hand inside the refrigerator where I'm guessing her powers trigger it to heat up in there because some water ends up dripping out of the refrigerator onto her hand, completely activating her powers. Emma noticed that Rikki's standing too long into the door and asks her what's wrong. Rikki immediately starts freaking out, leaving Emma and Cleo confused and suspicious. Zane and Dom actually look at a map, seeing where all the sunken boats have been surrounding over the past 1900s because they found out there was Miss Chatham's boat that had sunk in the year 2007, which was in episode 13. Another boat had sunk in the 1950s. So I'm guessing that's when Miss Chatham had to save another fisherman. And then there was one in the 1940s before Miss Chatham and her friends actually became mermaids. So over the 1900s, there's been a lot of sunken ships. And apparently, they found out later on they are surrounding Mako Island. That's where it's all happening at, which is weird. Why was Miss Chatham taking her boat all the way to Mako Island? That's strange. But I digress. We get back to Emma's house where Rikki continues to freak the fuck out. And it gets to the point where Emma and Cleo notice that there's something wrong with Rikki. And Emma can see that the heat that Rikki is complaining about is actually coming off her body. She goes to touch her and her hand gets burned. They ask Rikki if she's touched any water and has seen the full moon at all. Well, they get their answer. She places her hand next to a bottle of oil that immediately splashes up. So that is a definite yes. She's seen the full moon. They try to cool her off with a fan of all things, get distracted, and while they're having a full-fledged conversation, Rikki walks in the kitchen. And guess what happens? Immediately, popcorn's popping by itself, drinks splashing every damn where, fucking corks popping off the fucking bottles. It's a mess. There's water and food everywhere. Rikki has enough. She freaks out completely and runs off. Before Emma and them can even get out the door, Cleo touches the doorknob, which is very hot. Emma tries to cool it down with her powers. Lewis prevents them from leaving because, of course, the full moon is out. They try to go outside. They see the moon, so Lewis has to shut the door. They find out that Rikki has jumped into the water and has gone her way to Mako Island. Miss Chatham thankfully shows up and they try to explain to her that it's something wrong with Rikki. She says that she knows. This lady has already experienced this shit. I feel so bad for Julia. How did they figure out how to help Julia when this happened to her? So she tells them they have to go back to Mako Island. They have to take Rikki to the moon pool. And I will get to that in my review, especially with Lewis. Because Lewis apparently is acting like he fucking knows better. He's being a total and utter dick to this lady. Disrespectful beyond belief. Trying to tell her that they shouldn't have to take their word for it and that nothing she's talking about is making sense. As if he fucking knows better than the woman who was a mermaid before he was even born. Before even his parents were thought of. But he thinks he knows more than her because he ran a bunch of tests that came out to absolutely nothing. So that makes every bit of his research pointless. So they figure out how they can get Cleo and Emma to Mako Island without them seeing the full moon. Before they can do that, Rikki makes it to Mako Island where she starts setting everything on fire. I'll get more into that too. She apparently is founded by Zane, who went out there to try to figure out what's going on with all these shipwrecks in the damn night. Mind you, it is dark as hell outside. How did he find this place? He finds Rikki by herself where everything is on fire. They have a heart-to-heart about how no one understands them. No one knows how hard it is to be them. And they kiss. I know I'm sounding like a complete and utter heartless bitch by the way I'm describing this moment between them. But I will get to that in my review. And once they kiss, Rikki balls him from the inside. This man passes out. How he did not die from the intense heat from kissing her on the lips, I will never know, but the Lord saved him. Louis, Cleo, and Emma finally make it there, and they find Zane completely and utterly dehydrated. Louis has to take him home to get him some help, while Cleo and Emma convince Rikki to go to the moon pool with them, even though she is telling them no because she deserves to be alone. It's very sad to hear her say that. But knowing what we found out about Rikki over these past 18 episodes, we kind of can understand why she thinks this way. They finally get her to the moon pool. Cleo says that Miss Chatham said that if they brought her here, it was supposed to make her normal. Emma says normal means it's not exactly what was supposed to happen, is what Emma explains to Cleo. And Rikki eventually does calm down. I'm guessing before the full moon actually went down and the sun had fully came up. So it worked. Rikki, not being able to remember anything, asks if she got too much moonlight last night, and Emma tells her yes. They try to get back to Emma's house, but they too late because Emma's parents are already there, and Emma got grounded. Yeah. So Cleo and Rikki, thinking it was very unfair that Emma got grounded, went to the Juicenet Cafe by themselves, where Zane comes in and confronts Rikki. I mean, Wilford took one look at Zane and said, "You need to stay out the sun." Because he got some sunburns, like all over. Zane looked toe up. So when Zane is confronting Rikki, Rikki denies everything, tells him that nothing happened, I guess gaslighting him. He thinks that she's weird. And Ricky's kind of taken aback when she finds out her and Zane actually kissed. Cleo asks Rikki what happened. Rikki says she doesn't know, and the scary part about it is she has no idea what she done that night. And the episode ends like that. Yeah, now let's get into my review. Let's talk about some few things before we talk about Rikki and her full moon situation, because like I said, I wasn't going to dedicate a video on it. Louis is creating a feud with Miss Chatham for no reason. Because I'm trying to understand what is his problem with her. I know what his problem is with her, but I am not understanding why he had such a hard time giving two fucks about what this woman thinks on the situation. Like, why was he such a dick to her? I just don't understand. I don't get why he was mean and why he treated her the way that he did. And it kind of makes me not like his character so much, and does make me understand why him and Cleo's relationship ended up the way that it did before they were able to reconnect. Because with behaviors like this and thoughts like Louis had, I totally understand. Miss Chatham is trying to help y'all. Like, a lot of people kind of give the girl shit for not wanting Lewis's help, but like, we clearly as day can see that Lewis is treating Miss Chatham the same way, and she's not doing anything wrong. And it makes it worse because she knows more about the mermaid stuff than he does. So she's his best bet on getting information on the situation. But instead of getting her help, he treats her like garbage. To the point where Emma and Cleo has to tell Lewis that he needs to be quiet. Because the girls generally want to know what she's talking about rather than him. And I don't understand why that makes people mad at them for doing that, because it makes sense why they would rather want her help more than they want Lewis's help, because Miss Chatham used to be a mermaid. She's been through this stuff. She knows more than Lewis does. So why wouldn't they want her help more than his? She's the one with the experience. Lewis is still learning everything. I just don't get why he was being asked to her. And why fans treat this as something that's not important to like hold against his character, because it makes no sense for him to act like this. On the situation with the full moon and why Rikki needed to be in the moon pool, the girls feel they're most safest when they're at Mako Island. Like every full moon that they get controlled by, they always want to go to Mako Island. It's the one place they know where they're safe. It's the one place they know where they don't have to hide or be afraid of anyone finding out their secret. It's the one place they know that no other person will go unless they have a valid reason to. So it's a safe space for them. But it's like they don't use it unless the girls are under the influence of the full moon, when it should be obvious that that's the safest place for them. But it does make sense why Rikki would need to be there, because before the full moon does disappear, she is able to calm down and come out of the trance once she makes it to Mako Island and gets inside the moon pool and actually feels safe. And that's what Miss Chatham meant by she'll be normal again. Now, on the note with Zane, this boy is having damn nightmares. This shit is obviously bothering him. He's, I'm guessing, paranoid about what saved his life. I don't understand why he's paranoid, because if this thing that he's after saved his life, wouldn't he be grateful? Wouldn't he want to know why it saved his life? Because it sounds like to me that he's scared of it. And yeah, we might as well talk about him and Miriam, because I'm starting to see episode upon episode that they generally do not care about each other. She's always around other guys. He's always around other girls. He doesn't defend her when he should. She doesn't care about his internal struggles. They're both very materialistic. I don't see any love between the two of them. So yes, I can understand why he would prefer someone else than Miriam. But that does not mean that he deserves the person he ended up with. Because he hasn't changed. Yes, that doesn't mean that he's a complete and utter asshole. But Zane still does things that make him seem like he's not boyfriend material. Because that still does not mean that he is a faithful person. Let alone he knows how to treat his girlfriends. I digress. Now let's talk about Zane and Rikki getting into their couple stage. Before we get into the episode where they actually start to become a couple. The reason why I'm being so much of a Debbie Downer about this heart to heart is not because I don't find this heart to heart sweet. It is good to hear that Zane does not truly have actual friends, and that there are people that do not actually care about him the way that he comes off, and that Rikki feels very alone. That being said, Zane is not what I would call a very approachable person. He is still a bully. He might not be a complete bully, but he is still a bully. He is still a person who does not care of other people's feelings and can be very judgmental and write people's concerns off about certain situations. It still does not change the fact that he is not nice unless he has a reason to be to Emma and Cleo. But again, I digress. Now, Rikki in this situation on the full moon, Rikki obviously was going through it. She was very afraid about what her powers could actually do, and it gives a light into what Rikki is internally thinking. Rikki is not as happy about being a mermaid as we thought she was. It eventually dawned on her that being a mermaid is not the grand thing that she thought it was. She's become very paranoid. She feels isolated. The secrets are getting too much for her. And she just thinks that Emma and Cleo, considering their backgrounds, would not understand how it would be a lot harder for someone like her. But that's due to the fact of them not having the same backgrounds and not knowing enough about each other. It is sad though that Rikki feels alone despite the fact she has Emma, Cleo, and Lewis, but there's nothing really you can do about that. That's all I really have for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed the content. Let me know what you guys think of this episode and the elements that I brought up in my review in the comments. Without further ado, have a blessed day, guys. Have a wonderful day. And I'll see you guys in the next video. But you already know, this won't be the last time you see me. And if no one has told you this today, I'm telling you, I love you. Bye, guys.